Hey everybody, welcome back to Library Says. My name is Jamie, and today I'm going to tell you all about 8 different series I have read that I am not going to finish. So, before we get started, these are 8 different series that I have started. These are not books I don't have any interest in. These are all books that I went into with high hopes. I wanted to love them. I thought they sounded good. And I read the first book, and in some cases even read further in the series, but at some point put the book down and thought, I'm not going to read any more of this series for various reasons, and I'll tell you all about it. Number 1 on this list is the Strange the Dreamer series by Laini Taylor. Now, Laini Taylor, I loved the Daughter of Smoke and Bone trilogy. Loved. And I went into Strange the Dreamer with such high hopes. The main character is a librarian. If you're new here, you don't know me, I'm a librarian. And of course I thought, amazing, I'm so down for this fantasy series where a librarian goes on a quest to save the world. Of course. Unfortunately, it did not work for me. I did read and complete the first book in the series, Strange the Dreamer. I gave it 3 stars. A lot of my issues had to do with the pacing. I honestly was bored through so much of this book, and that's really a tragedy because the writing is gorgeous. On a sentence-by-sentence level, like, I just wanted to lap it all up. But the actual plotting, pacing of the story, I never wanted to pick this book back up. It took me forever to get through it. And really, the pace doesn't pick up, and the events that actually make up the meat of this story don't start happening until like the 3/4 in mark. You hit 75% and suddenly a whole bunch of stuff is happening. And this book is way too long for that to be true. There are also issues with insta-love and just other things with characterization I didn't love. When I put this book down, I immediately knew this isn't a series I'm going to continue, which made me really sad because I had high hopes and I really wanted to read and love these, and I sadly did not. Number 2 on this list is the Stillhouse Lake series by Rachel Caine. These are thrillers about a woman who finds out her husband is a serial killer, and he goes away to prison, and she moves to a remote town under a new name with her 2 kids. Then murders just like her husband's start happening in the new town that she's living in, and she gets pulled in, and there's all kinds of twists and turns and shady characters and confusing motivations. I really enjoyed the concept of this first one, but still the execution was sort of like, When you do finally get the final reveal, the whodunit, it seems so random and like not anything you could have ever possibly put together on your own as a reader, which to me is poor writing. Like, I want to be shocked and then go back through the whole thriller and realize I missed all of these clues and I could have solved it, but I never came close. That's how I want to read my thrillers. That's like the experience I want to get. And this one, it was, you find out who done it and you think, okay, or it could have been Bob the Ice Cream Man. Like, it upset me. But the concept was so cool, so I started the second book too, which I did finish. I read the first 2 books in the series. There are now 4 with a 5th on the way. Book 2 took it in such a weird direction. It's very technology heavy, dark web. It's a lot darker too in tone, I thought. And also this second book took something that seemed horrifying but grounded in reality and plausibility, and took it to almost the fantastical. But that's not what I wanted, and I knew when I finished book 2, I was not going to pick up book 3, 4, 5, whatever. Number 3 on my list are the Hercule Poirot books by Agatha Christie. This one might be a little weird and maybe it doesn't count as a series exactly, but all of these novels are about a single character solving crimes, a different crime for each book. I don't have a lot of luck with Hercule Poirot so far. I love Agatha Christie. 2 of her books are 2 of my favorite mysteries of all time, but I have also read 2 Hercule Poirots, and her standalones work so much better for me. I've just found that the 2 Hercule Poirots I have read, which are The Murder on the Orient Express and Death on the Nile, are both a little predictable, a little less captivating than the standalones that I have read from Agatha Christie. Maybe she has to work a little harder to build all of the characters in the standalones. She can't rely on Hercule Poirot's character. I'm not sure, but for whatever reason, the standalones work for me. Hercule Poirot doesn't really, and I probably won't ever read any more books in that series. Number 4 on this list is the Cursebreaker series by Brigid Kemmerer. Now, this is going to come as a surprise, maybe. It's very unpopular to have not liked the first book in the series, which is A Curse So Dark and Lonely. And now there's a sequel that I haven't read, don't plan on reading. It also might be surprising because if you've been around for a while on my channel, you know that I'm obsessed with Beauty and the Beast. It's my favorite fairy tale, and I love retellings and books inspired by Beauty and the Beast. I even have a recommendations list, I'll link up above, of romance novels for people who love the Beauty and the Beast dynamic. I went into this hoping for the best. I really wanted to love it. I was so excited. And no. It didn't work for me, but I seem to be in the minority. My favorite character in this book is Gray. He's a third character. He's not one of the two main characters, and I thought he had more personality, more chemistry, more everything than the so-called prince / beast in this book, who I just never warmed up to. There is some disability rep in this book that I've heard nothing but good things about, so that's awesome. But other than that, the female main character had a not like other girls mentality I found really frustrating. I thought we were past that, but clearly we're not. I found the world building to be lackluster. I didn't buy the romance at all, and just, no. I finished it and I was like, really? That's it. That's what we've got with this Beauty and the Beast retelling. I don't know. A lot of people love this, but I have no desire to continue on with the series, even though I have heard that Gray, the character I loved so much, features more strongly in the next book, which is interesting, but still I'm probably never going to read them. Number 5 on the list is the Magician series by Lev Grossman. These are adult magical boarding school books, and the concept is so cool, and it did inspire a TV show that has been very popular. I've never seen the show. I did read the first book and enjoyed it. I gave it 4 stars, but still don't have any desire to continue on with the series. The magic system is never explained, the world building is almost non-existent, and the characters are all, especially the main character, insufferable. This is sort of magic fiction for people who think they're too good for Harry Potter, or who think they can do better than Harry Potter. Like, that was sort of my feeling as I read this. I don't have any time for that sort of attitude. But I did give the first book 4 stars, so make of that what you will. Number 6 on my list is Lifelike and the rest of the series by Jay Kristoff. I did read the first book. I gave it 3 stars. The only other books I had read by Jay Kristoff were his collaborations on the Illuminae series with Amy Kaufman, which I love, some of my favorite books ever. But Lifelike I found to be sort of poorly written and not engaging, and honestly a mashup of a million existing sci-fi tropes and stories with nothing new to add. It's like he had nothing new to say and he shouldn't have written this series. Sorry if you love them. I didn't. You've got X-Men, you've got Mad Max, you've got Cinder, you've got just... I kept recognizing stuff as I was reading, and there was not a single moment that I thought, this is it, okay, here we are. And I did finish it, but it was a struggle, and I will not be reading the rest of the books in the series. Number 7 on my list is the Montague Sibling series by Mackenzie Lee. I read The Gentleman's Guide to Vice and Virtue when it first came out. I liked it, I did not love it. I liked the characters, I liked what the book was doing, but not the actual book itself, if that makes sense, as much as I wanted to. I did give it 4 stars, that was fine. But going forward, I've only ever heard bad things about the other books in the series as far as their representation, things the author has said about them, and I just found the other characters who the next books are about not as interesting personally as the main characters of the first book, and so I was kind of dragging my heels on whether or not I was going to finish the series. There are now 3, I think. 3.5. I did read the follow-up novella to this first book. Lately, Mackenzie Lee has been doing some weird crap that I find distasteful, that just makes me lean even further to the side of don't finish the series. I can't guarantee I'll never read them, but I'm leaning strongly toward I'm not going to finish the series, and I think that's fine, and I'll move on. And the 8th and final series on this list absolutely breaks my heart. It's the Shatter Me series by Taha Mafi. I loved the original Shatter Me trilogy. In fact, I brought props to kind of prove how much I love the series. This is my Warner's Soaps candle. If you've read the books, if you've read Ignite Me, you know why this means anything, and I refuse to burn it because I just want to keep it on my bookshelf forever. And this is my book boyfriend's sweatshirt. My best friend gave it to me for Christmas or my birthday several years ago now. It's literally just a sweatshirt with all of the names of my book boyfriends on it, and look who's on the top of the list. Now, I do not believe that authors should decide to randomly pick up and continue series many years after the fact for various reasons, but that's a different video. But that is what happened in this case. There was a complete trilogy. Several years later, Taha Mafi decided to continue the series and write 3 more books, and I have liked each of those progressively less, to the point where I actually read book 4 didn't love it. Started book 5, skimmed it, really didn't love it. Bought book 6 out of loyalty. Loyalty to your favorite authors is a strong, strong thing. I read about 1 chapter of it before I ended up skimming the rest of the book, and I did not even finish it. I skimmed, I'd say, to like the 60 or 70% mark and put it down and never picked it back up, and I don't think I ever will. I understood when she first announced she wanted to continue the series because all of the personal relationships and character development in the original trilogy was solid, but the actual dystopian elements, the world building, were really left hanging. Lots of loose threads. And I thought that is what she's going to work on in books 4, 5, and 6. We've got all these really solid characters, these really solid relationships. Now let's fix the world. And instead, she just destroys the relationships and the character development. All of the development regresses, the relationships get blown up, and personalities change, characters change, and we still don't fix the world. I find it so deeply upsetting. And the unfortunate thing is, I have read at least some of this secondary trilogy now, and it has tainted the original trilogy for me. It's really spoiled it, and I am so sad. I almost wish I had just never picked up the second half of this series and had let it be, because I think it'd be much happier. My book Boyfriend Sweatshirt I do not think would look the same if I had it made now, which is so sad. Anyway, that is 8 different series I have started but will not be finishing. Let me know down below if you felt similarly to me about these series, or if maybe you trudged on and found that you liked later books in the series more, or if I'm just wrong about something and one of these is your favorite series of all time. I'd like to hear about that too. I will catch you guys in the next one. Bye.